What's up, guys? It's your boy Kafele here again, back with a new video. I got a new light, which is like a selfie light, so it's gonna help me out with lighting. Hopefully, I have a new mic that the selfie light came with the mic for free. We're gonna test this out, make sure we have bad lighting, because the last video I was not satisfied at all. I even shot another video that same day that I did not upload because it was just bad. I am sweating, so if I'm sweating, I apologize. But this is gonna be the first ever review on this channel, first of many to come. And it's gonna be on this bad boy right here, the Imac 2019 consumer spec'd out version. I'm calling it that because on Apple website you can get the completely spec'd out version for like $4,000, and I got it from Best Buy and can't customize it. You're gonna get what this consumer spec'd out version is, and that's what we got here. And we're gonna get into the review right now. So for this review, it's gonna be a 5-point review. So what I want to do is something different on this channel, where we review products for the consumer in mind and not really the techie. And we're gonna just talk about 5 major points on why this product is good. It could be 5 good points, it could be 5 bad points, but we're just gonna jump right into it right now. And the first on the list of my 5 points we're going to talk about is the i5 Intel 9th Gen processor. Now, before this computer, you saw that I had a Lenovo A940 that I had for maybe like a few weeks until I was not unsatisfied, but I saw that it was really overkill for my needs. I didn't really need the tablet drawing screen. It was kind of big and blocky, doesn't fit good on my desk, and Apple announced sidecar, which I can use my iPad, the screen for my iMac. Is like, I rather that than having a whole big setup. Plus, I wanted a Microsoft service, but not even that. It was more of an impulse buy. But stop rambling there. This bad boy packs the i5 Intel 9th Gen. If you get from Apple, you want to get the complete spec'd out version. It is an i9, and the i9 will cost you about maybe $400 more on top of the price, and I personally don't think that is worth it. So I'm gonna tell you why. Before I had an i7, it was an 8th gen, and with that processor, it was pretty good, I will say, and I was satisfied with it. There's something called multi-threading, where it helps you run multiple programs at once. And so definitely I could tell on the Lenovo I could run Adobe Premier, Illustrator, Photoshop at the same time, 3 heavy CPU programs, and it ran pretty good. There was no hiccups, nothing like that. Windows was smooth as a bad boy. And so I had some concerns switching over to this, because I know the i5 doesn't have the multi-threading and doesn't have as much threads, I think that's what it's called, as i7 did on the 8th gen. So I was like, maybe I shouldn't switch, because I couldn't get the i9 because I was getting it from Best Buy, because I had to return the other one. So in that case, I was in a predicament where I wasn't sure what I was sure of, but thankfully I went with the iMac, and the i5 Gen Intel 9th Gen is pretty good chip. On this bad boy I could run the same 3 programs I said before: Premiere, Illustrator, Photoshop, and Premiere is very CPU heavy compared to something like Final Cut Pro, which I don't have because it's too much money, Apple, you know. And I run those programs and there's no hiccups, nothing's wrong with it. Honestly, I could export video on my iMac maybe half the time I could on Windows with Adobe Premiere, and it has a slightly worse CPU. Granted, it has a better GPU, way better. Well, 560 versus 580X is a gap, so I say way better GPU for AMD standards. Obviously, NVIDIA is like up here, but we don't have, Apple doesn't have NVIDIA chips, so that's on there. That's on them. But really, the i5 was pretty good. It handles what I need. It handles my gaming needs too. It handles boot camp fairly well. I have boot camp my iMac, and on the Windows side, I play Sims. As you see on my gaming channel, as you're gonna see, I'm gonna play Brawlhalla. I played Witcher, the first Witcher. I played Fire Pro Wrestling, and all those games on the i5 runs pretty good because the i5 next gen is like a budget gaming card CPU, and it runs those games fairly really good. I even played Forza on, and it runs smooth. It runs ultra settings, 60 frames per second, no problem at all. And that leads me to my second point, which is the GPU, which is the Radeon 580X. And no, it's not a NVIDIA 1070 or whatever 1080, but for AMD chip, it runs pretty good. So it runs pretty good for Radeon 580X chip. Like I'm running, as I said before, I can run Forza on ultra settings, 60 frames per second, no hiccups, no problem. Forza is a very graphically enhanced game, and I'm running that game smooth. I'm running The Sims 60 frames per second while on OBS recording, and that's for me is a big step up from what I had before, which was on my gaming laptop, which was a NVIDIA. It was one of the laptop NVIDIA chips that was really good at the time in 2014. That's when I got it, and the Radeon 580X would match with the Intel i5, runs Sims 60 frames per second, and I never had that experience at all in my life on ultra settings, and I'm just like blown away because I could finally play the game at a good rate and do what I want with it. Even same thing with Fire Pro while we're using OBS, it's still 60 frames per second, and I had a problem with that before, and once again it runs pretty good on a Windows Bootcamp iMac. And I'm taking away, like, for a regular consumer who might want to do some light gaming on here, the Radeon 580X is perfect. I'm pretty sure you can play Fortnite pretty good on this thing, either Windows or Mac side, and I'm pretty sure you won't have any problems. And I don't personally play Fortnite because I don't care for it, but I'm gonna run these other games on here pretty good, and I have no problems with it at all. Getting on to my third point now will be the 2TB Fusion drive. Now this point is a little bit good and a little bit bad. The reason for that is because Fusion drives aren't the most reliable drives out there. They're really not. They could fail on you at any time. I don't know why Apple still has the base models with the Fusion drives and not at least a hybrid with half SSD, but for whatever reason they include the Fusion drive. It's not the best, but you get 2TB, and for 2TB of space, that's a lot of space. So you probably won't even use up 1TB for the average consumer. I know I wouldn't. So when I bootcamp my Mac, I actually split it half, 1TB for Windows, 1TB for Mac, just so that I can have enough space for my games on Windows. And I honestly don't really download much on my iMac side, so it's just fluff. Plus I have an external hard drive of 1TB. The good thing though is that you can get cheap SSDs for fairly good prices that you can add on as a external drive for your iMac. If you don't feel comfortable storing stuff on your Fusion drive, you can just use your external SSD. Don't pay the extra Apple prices because they charge like freaking $300 more just for a 250GB SSD when you can get external one for probably half the price. And now we're gonna move on to the fourth point of the video, and that is the USB-C Thunderbolt 3 X port. Now it comes with two. The Lenovo one I had only comes with one. Even comparing to the Microsoft Surface right now, they have big old 0. So I believe so. And the USB-C Thunderbolt 3 port is going to be very useful for you because you could add not only an external display, which I have, you could also add an external GPU if you get to the point where you are not completely satisfied with the Radeon 580X, or maybe something new came out and games are becoming more graphically enhanced. You can't afford a completely new computer, and you want to look at iMac because these are expensive, and you just want to add an external GPU for like half the price of buying a new iMac. You can do that. I haven't done it personally yet because I am satisfied with the Radeon 580X. When it comes to a point where I need something more, then I will think about buying an external GPU. And I'm pretty sure they usually, external GPUs right now are in the area where it's like, it's good, but you know, it could be better. But it will definitely improve your gaming on iMac by far. So if you want to do so, you could have both your external display and the Radeon, pause, and the external GPU. And to make it even better, you could, I think, like have the external GPU output to your external display. I think you could, because it will be less heavy on the CPU on the iMac. And the last point will be 5, which is for mainly the Apple guys out there, Apple girls, and that will be just the connectivity between your iMac and the rest of your Apple devices, such as an iPad, your iPhone, which I'm recording on right now, Apple Watch, which I don't have on, well, maybe not really Apple Watch, but really your Apple devices such as your iPhone, your iPad, even a MacBook, and just the connectivity between all your Apple devices. If you're in the ecosystem already looking for a computer, just stick with the iMac. I should have done it in the first place before buying the Windows computer, especially since if you do need Windows, you can boot camp it or do VMware or whatever you want to do to it to run Windows and have Windows apps running. But for me right now, this is solid. This is good. I can do both Windows and Mac. I'm in the best of both worlds. And I can just airdrop my video files easily to my iMac, and it's just flawless. It's perfect. It works beautifully. Mwah. And with Sidecar coming out, I can just easily lay down in bed, working some graphic design stuff on my iPad. I don't even have to go to my computer no more. So that's gonna be perfect. I could run Illustrator on my iPad flawlessly without anything. I don't even have to buy the Photoshop app because I could just use Photoshop on the iPad. But that is the 5 points of this review of the iMac 2019 consumer spec'd out edition, which has a i5 9th gen processor, 2 TB Fusion drive, Radeon 580X, and I like it. I just wish Apple include the better keyboard and not this one right here, because this one doesn't have the keypad, and if you're gaming, the keypad's kind of helpful, but it suits your needs. You can just plug in any keyboard, to be honest, but I just like the Apple one because it just keeps everything looking nice. You have your magic mouse, you have your dumb charging port right here. Don't know why they've done that. And I gotta say, if I had to make a complaint about the iMac 2019, is the design. This design has been used since what, 2012 maybe, with the huge bezels, this big bezel right here. I expect the next iMac, if it's 2020 or 2021, will be rehauled. It's gonna be closer to the new display they're releasing with the Mac Pro, and I think that is gonna have shrinking bezels, definitely the black bezels, and most likely this will shrink a little bit too, and it's gonna look fantastic. It'll change the base. Yeah, I think it'll be better. So thank you for tuning in, guys. That is my 5-point review. If I gave it a rate out of 10, I would definitely give this bad boy right here a 9 out of 10 for my personal needs, because it fits what I need and it has run beautiful so far, and it has not shown anything wrong with it. If you're buying an all-in-one computer, you have to go iMac. Don't get Windows, because this is just more reliable at the end of the day. If you really need Windows, just boot camp it like I've done. That's it for today. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for watching. This is iMac Review 2019, Kafele Network, and peace.